Everybody, today in this recording, I'm going to be talking about what I learned in my mass communications class, how it changed the understanding of media, communication, and the influence mass communication has today on society. Before taking this class, I mostly thought of mass communications as entertainment, news, advertising, or social media. I never understood that media was very important in our day-to-day lives. I never understood how much power it had in shaping our opinions, our political opinions, trends, beliefs, algorithms, and I also knew that some news sources were very biased, but I didn't fully understand how media organizations influence audiences through farming, through selective reporting, and persuasive communication techniques. Throughout this course, I gained a much deeper understanding of how mass communication works and how media affects society on a larger scale than we believe. One of the biggest things I learned was that mass communication is not just about sharing information to the public. It's about influencing the way that audiences interpret that information. Concepts like media farming, agenda targeting, and propaganda, audience targeting, and media ownership completely changed the way that I view television, news articles, advertisement, and social media content. One of the most helpful parts of this course was analyzing and critiquing news outlets and articles. Also, comparing different sources helped me a lot in realizing how differently stories can be presented through different media organizations. Some articles focused on emotional language, while others focused on more statistical facts, and others focused on political perspectives. Even when discussing the exact same topic, the tone, the words, the images, and how information was included in the article, it could completely change how audiences react. I find that very interesting. These activities helped me become more aware in the bias of social media and taught me the importance of critical thinking when consuming information online, especially. Before this class, I would usually read headlines quickly or just skim through information or accept information as soon as I read it quickly, without hesitation. Now I pay a lot of more attention to detail and credibility and sources and fact checking and comparing different articles to one another. I also became more aware of misinformation and how quickly false information can spread through high profile social media platforms as well as big news outlets. The project that had the biggest impact on me was probably my final project, which was the propaganda model. Working on that project helped me understand how economic and political influences and how our economy runs overall can shape the way that information is received to audiences. Before learning about the propaganda model, I never really considered how much factors like advertising, ownership, sourcing, and corporate interests could affect the media so heavily. This project made me realize that media organizations are not always completely independent, and outside influences can sometimes impact what stories are prioritized and hidden. Researching the propaganda model also helped me understand why certain topics receive more media attention than others. It really showed me that social media is really completely objective and that audiences should think critically about where information comes from and why it's being presented a certain way. This project changed the way that I consume news because I always try to look at multiple viewpoints instead of relying on just one viewpoint. Another important thing that I learned in this course was communicative technology. And social media have transformed our modern society. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube allow information to spread instantaneously to millions of people. While this creates opportunities for awareness and communication, it also quickly increases the amount of false information that we can conceive, online manipulation, algorithm manipulation, and viral trends that might not always be anywhere near accurate or responsible. This course helped me a lot in understanding both negative effects and digital communication in today's world. I also understood how important audience analysis is in communication. Different audiences may respond differently through age, culture, voices, and personal experiences. Understanding audience targeting is especially useful in marketing, advertising, and professional communication. Since I have both working as a brand ambassador and customer focus roles, I can already hear the concepts from these courses apply to real world situations that I've been in. So, knowing how to communicate effectively with audiences is very important overall through life. Future careers involve marketing, business, healthcare communication, or public relations. In the future, I believe the knowledge from this course will help me become a responsible communicator and a responsible media consumer. I will use critical thinking and evaluating information carefully after this course. And I also think that these skills will help me professionally because communication is very important in every single career field and every single job. Overall, this course has significantly positively impacted the way that I see media and information as well as entertainment. I now understand that mass communication has the power to affect beliefs, politics, the way that we treat one another, impact society as a whole. This assignment and how we critiqued articles and the propaganda model and all the projects that we've done helped me develop more of a critical and informed perspective about media I consume every day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.